starting soon. As soon as I'm done hacking, we'll be starting soon. All right. Richter's in the house. Kevin Keller's in the house. Clee's sister is not in the house. Or if she is, she said she wasn't going to be. But here we go. Let's see here. Look it, till I get on live, it's a whole minute late. Howdy do, folks. Randy Amish Comic here, making Tuesday suck less. And the lovely Mrs. Comic is over here on the sofa, which my hand, as I see it, is on the other side, but she's actually over there. But it seems like over there. Um, this is a, it's been a weird day. So we almost weren't going to stream, but then we decided to stream. Clee's sister isn't in, right? Her son is getting married tomorrow. And then you would imagine on wedding eve, there's a lot of shit to do. Uh, we had an oddball day, nothing exciting to report. It's just one of those just weird vibe days. Caesar's run around here going nuts. I'm going to play something for you that I didn't realize was um, the let's see. There was a cat video. There was a Caesar video last week. Let's see if it's still in there. I didn't realize that my exciting commentary was in here. So let me know, anybody, if you can hear this.
So graceful. What a graceful animal we have. Flies through the air with the greatest of ease. You see, that flopping that star bell, that is the warning to Bearcat. I'm warning you. Not unlike the Nan, I have a screen, window screen, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Okay, so here's why I played that again. Mrs. Comic told me after the show last week that some of you folks are wondering who the hell that was doing a commentary. Now, I'm hoping the commentary was in place. I can't, as I posted through my Streamlabs here, I can't hear the audio. So the answer to that question is that was me. I have 387 different characters and voices that I do in this house in the course of a week. I don't know where they come from. I don't know where they go. Um, but that was actually me dicking around. So their mystery solved right there. Like I said, I can't hear that, and so when Mrs. Comic was saying everybody wanted to know what the commentary was, I didn't have a fucking clue. I almost shit my pants because I'm like, well, what the fuck was I saying? I don't know, but this is what Mrs. Comic has to live with. These different characters come from all different countries that don't even exist. So that solves that mystery right there. I should do a character show one night. So here, uh, shameless self promotion here. I am big weekend coming up. Harrisburg Comedy Zone. I get to hand pick it. It lines up to my anniversary of stand up comedy. May 17th will be my 33rd year anniversary. May 21st was exactly next Tuesday night. Is my actual birthday. Now that's a gray area right there because do I want to stream live on my birthday? Yes and no. I don't know what the hell's going to happen there. So I'm excited about that. Now this past weekend was absolutely incredible. Back in March, I was pissing and moaning about a fire hall that dicked me over, and I smelled a rat somewhere that wasn't the person I was dealing with. So I let them reschedule. The Friday night show was fantastic. They said they didn't have a sound system, so I went and got my microphones cleaned out, and it turns out they did have a sound system, which I was happy. I just lug it in the buggy, just leave it in there and fuck them in a bucket of goo. Now, um, I think I posted them on the Patreon. I didn't have them lined up here. The Saturday night show, I was up in Towanda, Pennsylvania for at the Keystone Theater. It's a Bradford County Area Arts Council. They have two theaters, and I'll tell you what, it was how you fucking dream it. The green room was amazing. There's cookies, homemade cookies, and I took them all. And I was eating one the other night, and it made Caesar nuts. I don't know anything about how he loves these cookies or not, but I did almost a 2 hour show. They were thrilled. Mrs. Comic didn't even hear this yet. Let's see. I just got a message from the lady that says, bibbity bobbity boo. Hi, just wanted to drop you a note and let you know we've had close to 2 dozen combined Facebook messages, comments, voice messages, emails, handwritten sticky notes all over my desk from people saying how much they loved my show and are we going to have me back next year. Fuck yeah, we're going to have me back next year. So that's Rockstar. That probably doesn't sound like a lot of comments, but it was their first comedy show they ever ran. Fantastic theater. The audience was just really amazing. So I'm excited to rebook that thing. Old school. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh, I got a little blurry there. I got to focus here. So now let's move along here to. I know. The end of last week's show, I think Clee's sister was saying I should do stories from my hell printing job, which I was going to do, but she's not here tonight, so that's kind of fucking stupid. So we'll save the old hell job stories for the next live stream. If it's birthday night, Tuesday, or if it's another night, I don't know what's going to happen. So now I'm just going to be dicking around all over the place. I cleaned up my TikTok. TikTok lost some music rights, and it's really easy to put a clip on there and then put Amish Paradise or whatever in there. So they lost all those music rights. So every video that I had music in it. I had 50, 60 videos in there. Probably 30 of them had music in them, and they just muted it. So was like 30 TikTok videos of me going. That's fucking stupid. So I tore those down, and then I put a couple of them back up um, without any music, just a short clip. And I I have a few videos on there that hit like 20,000 views or whatever, but mostly it's maybe like 500 to 2,000 views per post. I got something on there now. My first thing that I reposted has got like 31,000 views in a short amount of time. That's big numbers for me. Let me tell you something. That's big numbers for me. Let me toot my own horn here. And it's this fucking stupid clip. There's 31,000 uh, views on this thing. But I did a silly thing too. I went and I looked at the comments. Um, they're nice comments, but it's kind of really weird because you folks have me so spoiled because you know who I am and what to expect, and it's actually was really entertaining to get some feedback from people that really don't have a fucking clue who I am or what I do. I'm multitasking here. Okay, so here's just a few comments here. I jotted down. Somebody said you would kill it in Ohio. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult because when we went to Ohio, the welcome sign was like "Hell is real." So I would kill in a place where hell is real. It's not really that much of a compliment. I don't think it is. Uh, Here's one, and their handle is uh, Merlin Monroe. I like that. It says like Marilyn Monroe, but it's Merlin Monroe. This is my favorite one. I should have saved this for last, but here it is. He sounds like Daffy Duck, and I'm totally down for it. So, at first I thought I was being insulted, but I love Daffy Duck, and they're like, okay, she sounds like Daffy Duck, and I'm down for it. So, um, I didn't. There's some things you don't really plan on in your career when you're trying to push out into a different market. So, maybe I have to work on my Bugs Bunny and my Daffy
To
Duck.
Iggy Pop say.
It's, what's that,
To
Iggy?
Iggy Pop said he himself thought he sounded like a cartoon character.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mrs. Comic pointed out that, um, well, Iggy Pop, who we love, was saved, born again, new by David Bowie. They became soulmates, and David Bowie convinced him to have the music pounding less and his voice more. And he always believed he sounded like a cartoon character of sorts. That's really, if an Iggy Pop voice, that would be a cartoon character that I would want to watch that cartoon show. Okay, so here was another comment on here. Let's see. Uh, this is by, just so you know who we're dealing with here, this is by user 806046872853907 says, I feel like this is the infamous story of Yoder, the Amish kid on Rumspringa, and it continued into uh, old age. So apparently I am old age. Rumspringa, so saith user 80604687228. Uh, and kind of fuck him because he couldn't even figure out how to name himself. He just took the number, user number, and he's calling me an old man. Rotate my crops, you old fucking Gretzky fuck. Let's see here. Someone posted, is that Raymond? I just hit it with a heart. I don't know if that's enough confirmation for them. It's kind of awkward to go, yeah, it's me. So I hit it with a heart, and somebody else did. This is actually my favorite one. The clip was real short, kind of something stupid. I don't remember. And they said, "Neat, Neat, neat." It's not anything that I hoped ever to be my review. The review is I'm neat, or that clip was neat. So there's that stuff going on right there. Uh, I'll tell you this, I'm all full of myself this Thursday night. Thursday night. See, I don't know what fucking day it is. The Saturday night show at the theater was really a lot of fun, and I tweaked it a little teeny little bit of material up there, and I made some notes, and now I don't know where the fuck they are. So never mind that. Oh, I know, Richter, you'll probably get this, and maybe a few other folks will get this too. Uh, when I went in there, um, people were so nice. Theater people are just the greatest. But the green room was amazing, and they had photos of other acts that had been there. The lady who booked me just started in January. I was their first comedy show, and they made some money, and I made some money, and everybody was happy. So that was fantastic right there. But in the green room, there was a picture of Flo and Eddie. If you don't know who they are, I will tell you who they are. They are there were the two central members of the Turtles. Imagine being you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right. And they got fucked over by the record label, and Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention took them and named them Flo and Eddie somehow, so the Turtles wouldn't know that they were the Turtles. And they actually were doing some Turtle cover songs. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. So that's some rock star shit there. To me, that's good vibes. Mrs. Comic and I have been on Team Zappa for like forever. Um, so I this what happens here in this live stream stays in this here live stream, and I won't mention you. Mrs. Comic and I went to see a Zappa tribute band last Wednesday night. We didn't pay. It wasn't really a gift. It's just somebody couldn't go, so we had to go. It was one of those deals where we were like, "Hey, what do you do on Wednesday?" Nothing. We should have said something because I'm very anal about Zappa. I love my Zappa. Mrs. Comic and I. That's the thing I threw at her, like when we were first dating. So it's either like all or nothing right there. You're either with it or not with it. And she was Team Zappa. So we've seen him live a whole bunch of times. I've seen Zappa with Captain Beefheart, and there's a lot of Zappa tribute bands. And this one, I won't say the name of it, but Dweezil, that's Frank Zappa's kid. He has probably the best one, and then there's a couple others floating around. This one I think just had some band members who had played in either with Zappa or with maybe possibly Dweezil. I don't really know. I have a lot of issues with uh, tribute bands. For one thing, is because uh, for one thing, they never really hit it, and it pisses me off too. This does sound like I'm insulting really talented musicians, but they're really talented musicians, and perhaps they're wasting their energy where it doesn't blow. Get the Lead Out. They're sold out all the time. It's a mock in my show. It's like $20 to see not Led Zeppelin, and they sell out all the time. And I'm sure they're fantastic. But my fear became that if there was a Raymond the Amish comic tribute band that sold out all the time because people said he was way funnier than me, that would really fucking piss me off. So they made some really odd choices. Mrs. Comic and I, we love Zappa. If you're going to do a Zappa tribute, there are some pieces that need to be in there. If you were doing Jethro Tull, which would make you a dick because they're still alive and touring, you would have to do Aqualung. Zappa has songs like that, and they didn't do the handful of songs that should have been in there. And then, if you know who Captain Beefheart is, you will get this. And if you don't know, I'll try to help you along here. I have Captain Beefheart has weird, insane, awesome poems. I would almost call them in his lyrics. I know him. I know him. I fucking love him. I used to, when people hustled uh, at the pool table back in the Frank days, running around with Frank and Clee's sister. Sorry, you're gonna love this. I used to recite a Captain Beefheart song in a bar, and it piss off the drunk people, and they'd think I was just drunk, and I would bet them $20 I could recite the same thing again, nuts and fucking crazy, and I could do it because I could do it, and and I didn't get shit kicked out of me, but the lyrics for Captain Beefheart are like, I'll try to do the voice if I can. A thick cloud caught a popper cup's tail, a match struck blue up the railroad rail. The old puff horse just pulling through, and a man wore a peg leg forever. Now, I hope that's not a copyright infringement, but I only did like 30 seconds. And the reason that I say this, now I will do another voice for you, is that they had 9 people in this band, and somebody could do the Zappa voice. Keyboard player who looked like Charles Manson, and that fucked me up. He could do the Zappa voice, and he could do the Captain Beefheart voice. And they had 2 female vocalists who were fantastic, but they left the one female vocalist to do Captain Beefheart, and she just talked it like a lady would talk it, and she read it off an iPad. So what you just heard, the way I heard it was, "As the cloud caught a popper cup's tail, a match struck blue up the railroad rail." Imagine that. The old puff horse was just pulling through. He just arrived. I'm like, what the fuck is happening to me? So that melted our brains, and then when the trolls in my idea hallway are left to their own devices, like criticizing this Zappa music, this Zappa tribute band, they just went fucking nuts. 9 people in the band, they all got solos. Zappa did not do fucking solos. He wrote music for his band, specific for the talent. If he had somebody in there that could play bass guitar like nobody's fucking business, there's a song on the Apostrophe album that's written for a magical bass player. So if you're gonna do the solo at the Zappa show, you pick the song that matches up to the solo that was written for the fucking instrument and for the fucking person to play the fucking piss out of it. And they didn't do it. They just kind of went. And the bass player, he complained that bass solos were kind of all really bad and boring, and he hated them. And he has lived down to that, right? Okay. So then the other guy, the guitar player, was too bouncy, and I spent half of the night thinking he looked like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, and I was wrong because he looked like Hank from Breaking bad. The cop that was chasing him, these aren't stones, they're minerals, Marie. And that fucked me up when I figured that out. And they also were really full of themselves. I can appreciate that. So I know full of yourself because I know. So they're all doing, and that's against everything Zappa did playing. It was almost like an anti-Zappa. You don't really do like a Zappa tribute and go. They just were fucking so full of themselves. Uh, but I didn't bitch slap them on Yelp, and they did an encore. First, they had two sets, and the first set ended with a song I never heard of. That fucked me up. And the show ended with a song I never heard of. That fucked me up. And the encore was a song I never fucking heard of. So then, at that point, Mrs. Comic and I, we were out of manners. So I said, we are just fucking leaving. So that was really, it was actually a really fun night because we didn't pay for the tickets. How about that? And this is a prime example of why Mrs. Comic and I love to stay home with the cat and watch serial killing shows or shit like this can't fucking happen to us. So, no offense to tribute bands, but I don't like his.
You could do a great Captain Lee.
I'm telling you, I could do Zappa voice better than them and the Captain Beefheart voice. Well, that was another thing. So they got 9 band members. They all got solos, and they snuck in some original songs, which was fucking. That's a real dick move when you're doing like a Zappa tribute show, and you say, "Oh, I'd like to sneak in these original songs that we wrote because we would probably think they're just as good as Zappa's songs." It's really fucking weird, and you can really tell when they went off the Zappa railroad tracks there. So they had 2 new band members too, and they introduced them like 7 times, which was kind of fucking weird. And I wish I could tell you the name of the percussion stuff. I love when Frank Zappa's music went into the vibraphones and the xylophones and all the. It's really fucking gorgeous music. It's very technical, and the gal who did that to perfection was Ruth Underwood, and Frank Zappa wrote her stuff that really pissed her off. She's like, I can't fucking play this. Are you out of your fucking mind? And he said, yes, I am out of my fucking mind, and yes, you can play that. And this gal could play that, but they kind of tucked her away into the corner. To my way of thinking, she should have been front and center. So I don't know who else. There was a person also who looked like they almost looked like an old hippie, but they looked like they had on a George Washington days wig, like the horsehair ones. That was really crazy. And I gotta show you what else happened all night long. The ushers had their hands full with people taking pictures and videos with their lights on. So this went on. They'd sit there and they were filming, right? And they couldn't see this fucking light beaming off the guy's bald head in front of them. These were old hippies, of which I am one. A lot of gray beards there, but still, like nobody fucking knew. And they were with people, and the people they were with didn't even know how to do it. So that the ushers' main job was running around the theater and saying you can't. Like if you don't know how to turn it off, you gotta put in your pocket, or something has to happen like this. At least that's what they were doing. So they weren't drunken assholes. They was just that. And then old hippies also. I love old hippies. They sound like I'm mocking them, but they were great because they were requesting things, and rightly so, because they were playing a lot of shit nobody ever fucking heard of. Somebody had requested, where the fuck that is, I don't know. I don't think they played it. So that was it was a fun night. It was a weird night. Yes, I'm an anal douchebag dickhead, but I know fucking Zappa and Captain Beefheart, and if you're gonna do that, you really gotta fucking do it. And just so we're clear here, the chick doing Captain Beefheart, had a fantastic voice, and I would not have any problem with flipping the sexes on Captain Beefheart, but she should have fucking Janis Joplin it or something pushing towards Captain Beefheart. And I'm also of the mindset that if you were in a Zappa tribute band and you have to read the lyrics off an iPad, you're not ready to do that fucking song. That's my review for that. Okay, we're done there. Let's see here. Holy shit. Amazing.
Somebody's in the chat that was at the Old Barn Theater show, and
Oh, who was at the Bull Barn Theater show?
Joseph Biddle and Kevin Cut. No wait.
Joseph Biddle. If you were at the Bull Barn Theater show, I'm trying to pick out a date to go back there. So if you are in the State College neighborhood, which I believe you would be, or you really made a fucking far trip to go out to the that's the case you don't know, that's a place where my wife went out in the dark of night to find toilets because they didn't have them there. They were down in the main building, and a dog came. What kind of dog? A German Shepherd came after her on a leash in the dark, and a ghost lady appeared and said, when this happens, the ghost lady said, you just open up this car door and the dog goes fucking in there. And then she couldn't, Mrs. Comic couldn't even see the car in the dark. So I want to go back there. I'm thinking about October because it was really fucking cold there. And I'm trying to find out what goes on in State College in October that I should avoid. So once I figure that out, I'll pick out a date. I think for October won't be so fucking cold in there.
When are you going to be in Altoona? He's from Altoona.
Oh, he's going to be in I'm going to be in Altoona. I'm going to be in Altoona in. Just hang on.
Sorry.
Let's see. Well, what the hell was he doing at the Bull Barn show?
He traveled, I guess.
Let's see here. I'm going to be in Altoona in June 29th at the Altoona Grand Hotel. In fact, if you're in Altoona now, you should be able to buy tickets there now. I don't know, but as a reminder, I have to follow up with them. They were a little flaky. I was there however many years ago. I'm a little nervous about going back there. We talked about Altoona amusement park last week where the young boys played kicking the balls game that was really disturbing. So hopefully we make it out to Altoona. That'll be fun shit there. Let's see here. I make all these notes, right? And when I need them.
Oh, one more thing. Kevin Keller's wife is from Towanda originally.
Oh! Kevin Keller's wife is from Towanda. Well, let me explain this to you if you haven't been up there. So, the drive up is really far from where we are. It was 2.5 hours, but it was 2.5 kind of tough hours because one of the routes, I think, is Route 6 that just goes up. It seemed like I almost needed to take my passport because I felt like I parked in fucking Canada. And there's parts of the mountains on that trip up that are really fucking gorgeous, but the road cuts through the mountain, but then it all disappears, and then it gets to be kind of like mostly scary diners that sell live bait. But then when you pull into Towanda, the town is fucking incredible. It's just really, it really surprised me. It's like a little, it's kind of an artsy town, but it's an old artsy town. I was really impressed with that town existing at the end of the fucking rainbow. It was just such a nice thing. Like, and it makes sense too, because the final approach, you go over a little bit of water and there's a bridge, and like this is life here on this side of the bridge, and that's a whole fucking new fun life on the other side of the bridge. So if you're on the wrong side of the bridge in Towanda, I highly recommend crossing that bridge and going to where the funner part of the world is there. Also, for the Towanda people, our grown-up daughter and her partner, when they travel, they like to go to, if there's like a weird diner or a gas station that's named something instead of Sheetz or Wawa, whatever. They like to go. There was a fucking million of those. I wanted to stop and take pictures of them. I can't even think of them, but they're just really kind of cool and quirky, oddball shops. So I think I gotta get Mrs. Comic up to Tawanda there because I was really kind of afraid until the last 20 minutes of driving in there. So that was some fun stuff. Let's see here. I made a few more notes. This. I can't even read my own fucking writing. This is the worst thing. Alright, that's not a thing. See, that's not a thing. And why I'm really a dick now is because when I make notes in here, I actually write whether it's for the live stream or if it's for stage or it's a combination of the two. Let's see here. Oh my God! Here is a note that I made. So this has to do with um, the different voices that I do. So Mrs. Comic, when she was young, her family took her to World's End State Park. It's fucking gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's and it suffers from when there's drought. When there's no drought, there's a creek and rocks, and you can hike across this thing. And there's little swimming holes. And I think they did tent camping. I'm not sure what they did, but tent camping is tough for me. I'm spoiled ass. So there's cabins, and the cabins are rustic hunters' cabins, and they're absolutely incredible. And that's where I'm silly and immature, and I've always done voices. So that's where Pappy's Beer Shack was. I have some recordings of that. I don't know if y'all ever hear those or not. But our daughter was little. I don't know how old she was when we took her up there. And I made up this whole story that's Pappy's Beer Shack. And it was actually a little beer shack, and the house is next door. And Pappy doesn't like to sit in that beer shack because his comfortable chair is in the house. So he sits in his comfortable chair and he waits to see if somebody dumbass like me pulls up to Pappy's Beer Shack. And Pappy runs down the steps and quick runs into the inferior comfort beer shack, and then he pretends like he's been there the whole time. And that's exactly what fucking happened, right? But this is where Richter, this is where I thought of you. I hope I can do justice to this story. So there, firewood is the thing up there where if you can get it laying around, it's great. But then that can take a lot of time too. So ultimately, if you buy it at a little camp store or whatever, you get fucking clobbered. But there's a lot of people sell firewood. So this was a deleted scene from Twin Peaks, is what this was. So there was a shack, and it was up into air as though flooding would come through in an area where no flooding would come through. So that was kind of fun, like a little bungalow shack. And so we pulled in there, and it was a little scary. So of course Mrs. Comic and the kid just sent me in by myself, possibly never to be seen again. And when I pulled in, you gotta understand something. It's vacation, and it's fun, and everything's happy and silly, and Pappy's Beer Shack, and woohoo, and just it's so much fun. And then and deer and raccoons, all kind of fun stuff. And when I crossed over and went up those steps and opened the door, I actually stepped into the Black Lodge of Twin Peaks because my vacation came to a fucking screeching fucking halt. Richter, where the fuck were you with bourbon balls when I needed you? Because I knocked on the door, because you don't just go fucking charging in. And I went, knocked on the door. I heard this, hello. I sound like a sweet little old lady. And then they said, I've come to get some wood. And then, well, come in. And I came in, and there was a 5,000-pound man bedridden on a hospital bed with fucking all these fucking wires and tubes and all kinds of fucking shit. I was surprised that it was a man because it was a lady's voice that I'd fucking heard. And I'm trying to be cool, trying to get the firewood. But that's my first time at the Black Lodge, so I don't know what the fuck's going to happen to me. And I'm nervous, and I'm thinking, well, the keys, I've left the keys in the car, so if Mrs. Comic and the kid have to make an escape because I'm stuck in a fucking Black Lodge, then we'll just write this off as the shittiest vacation that I ever had. So the man-lady voice said, kind of car do you have? I don't remember what it was, but I told him, and he gave me a price for the wood based on the kind of car that I had, based on how much wood he thought I could fit into that car. And they just told me to just leave the money on the table, and you can fill the car up. It'll be $15, and that's what I fucking did. And I went down there, and I tried to explain this to my wife and uh, daughter, except I wanted to make sure I had successfully left the Black Lodge to come back to fucking reality, and then I was moving some wood off the pile. A fucking snake greeted me, and there should be more to that story, but I'm telling you, it was fucking weird because when you're going from the fun vacation mode, and then you go through a door, and all of a sudden you're in the Twin Peaks Black Lodge, that was fucking weird fucking shit. Uh, and then what happens is if you travel around, you go to places like that, and then you go back however many years later, and that thing is gone because apparently the the thing in the bed that told me the wood that had the woman's voice wasn't in good shape then. So I shouldn't have been surprised to find out 10 years later that he didn't make it, or the Black Lodge just fucking took him. I don't know what happened there. So that was an exciting thing. Vacation stuff there. Um, well, up there, there were deer that were going to cross the street and get killed. But trucks with logs were going a lot, and I stopped and I talked to them. I said, "You really shouldn't run across this street because it's very dangerous and you could get killed. There's other ways to get through here." And they fucking turned and they went. Remember that? They actually listened to me. The deer.
Oh, you did.
They listened to me and then they just went. I know they probably went to report me to the wood man lady in the Black Lodge. I don't really know.
Kevin Keller loves World's End. He
It's
likes that there's no cell service.
it's really amazing. There's no cell service there. So if you're up there, that's fun too because you have to drive to where there's cell service.
Sure.
So you have to figure out, yeah, you have to drive to shore and where there's. Well, I think the show I just did drew from that. Like Deshore was one of the
Really?
people. So wherever I was, Tawanda has to be kind of sort of within maybe an hour of World's End, I think, just across there. But it's we have so much fun there. Mrs. Comic and our lovely daughter, well, when our daughter's little, the old hunting cabins are so amazing. Cabin 7, that's a secret. That's the place also where I told a story about the raccoon who had manners and peeled the bologna and ate the bologna and left the peel on the rock all fucking week long. So that's a lot of fun there. And then, damn, I lost my train of thought. Uh, oh well, it'll come to me for next week, right? But World's End, it's really quite a lot of fun. And the cabins, I don't know what they are now, but it couldn't be more than like $400 a week. That's really fucking cheap for lodging. Oh, I know what happened was these are old hunters' cabins, and they got a wooden, the old wooden cabins, but there's a refrigerator in there and stove, and everybody has a cabin mouse that you wait and you don't freak out. You just write it in the notebook and shit. So Mrs. Comic and our daughter thought it would be fun to make a fire in the stove, and this was a fucking cast iron stove, and me like a dumbass build a fire in there. It wasn't that it was dangerous. It's those stoves were designed for the fucking ice cold of winter to heat up that whole fucking cabin. It got fucking hot in there. Fucking hot. I mean, and there was nowhere to go with the heat. There was no fucking where to go with the heat. There just wasn't. There was absolutely nowhere to go with the heat. Then it became a fun thing, right? So if you go up there, we have so many nice memories there. Our daughter learned how to ride a bike up there. That was badass. I had to buy the seat, and she was just pedaling around, and we just figured when she gets this thing fucking going, she'll fucking go. So and we actually know the date when she learned how to ride her bike, and she did a video uh, right after it happened, and she nailed the date and where we were and all that. That's pretty badass to have documented by yourself when you learned how to ride a bike on the day and the location that you learned. So that's badass. We had so much fun up there. I will tell you this: how obnoxious I am now in real life, and how laid back. If somebody rings the doorbell here, Mrs. Comic would likely run upstairs and hide under the bed, and I'll go probably join her. Um, but out in World's End, out in the woods, Mrs. Comic is fierce, and I am a pussy fucking coward. I have a fucking skunk was attacking me, and by attacking it just like showed up, and I fucking ran in, and Mrs. Comic fucking came out with the pots and pans and scared a fucking skunk away. She didn't get skunk pissed on or nothing. So she's a fierce warrior in the wood. It's actually really fun transformation. In New York City, she can freak out, but she knows her way around up there. But in at World's End, when we're out in the woods, if it was
I'm in my element.
if she's in her element, and if it was the Survivor show, you would want Mrs. Comic to be on your team if you were out in the woods. I could tell you so many great stories. She even, when we used to tent camp, she was having a dream that a bear was coming to get us, and so she made bear sounds back at the bear to scare the fucking bear away, and it was magical. I wish I could have recorded it, but it was pre those days. Now you got me all worked up with those stories. So we tent camped and we went every which way but loose. Oh my God, Pecker, you probably saw on the Patreon my our neighbor Tom with the bird suit. I have my own bird suit now. So what's crazy about that is when you tent camp. This goes back to tent camp. You're really fucking out there in the woods. Now this was, I think they just why my brain connected the dots here. Tom and his honey just went to Chincoteague, and we used to go down there to see the wild ponies. You go across the thing, and the wild horses run around. It's really really fucking cool. So we were tent camping there, and we're to go see the ponies. You can't actually camp there, so you have to drive in on like an island to get in there. It's a preserve. It's a wildlife preserve, and so we had a Volkswagen bus that's so hippie, and we're waiting because it's a little trafficy to get in there to see the wild ponies. And while we were waiting, a horse's head just fucking stuck its head in, trying to get whatever fuck I was eating. Like horse's head from like The Godfather, except it was still connected to the horse. And so that was exciting. But then when we got back to the campground, now this is before our daughter now was born. This was our grown-up kids were down there camping. A mafia guy, mafia boss, and his hitman son apparently were in hiding, and they went into their own witness protection program, and they had suits on, and they set up their fucking campsite like in hours, in our fucking site. Like, you don't, it's okay to have neighbors, but there's like boundaries and shit. And it wasn't that full. We could have fucking went anywhere. We came back, there was like a fucking car there with a tent, and they went and they got crabs, and they were making clam sauce. It was fucking weird. It was really fucking weird. And so that's a weird thing too, because what am I gonna tell the two, Tony Soprano and fucking Richie, whatever the fuck his name is? Hey, you're too close. You gotta go fucking. So, plus, if we move, that's weird too. You can't just fucking move a whole thing. But now I gotta tell this. This is a great story. I'm sorry, Mrs. Comic. It's such a great story.
It's okay.
Our grown-up son Alvin, who is a fucking Mensa genius. He writes program code. He writes books for people who program, telling them what things to use. Quiet. So he's that sharp, and he was a young fella who was in school. It couldn't have been more than a teenager. He had strike anywhere matches, and he was sitting at the picnic table, and he ran it on the wood and lit it, and he pretended like he lit it off his ass. And the lovely Mrs. Comic spent the 3 next minutes trying to light a match off her ass, and I would never been so entertained. That would have been Mrs. Comic's version of giving me a lap dance of sorts. It should have been filmed. It was magical, and then I knew what was going on because he told me what was going on, and we let you go way too long for that. But that's how we travel. When we travel, we have a lot of fun. Um, More tales of travel, man. That could be a theme. You know, where we went to, World's End is absolutely amazing. Um, so that's pretty much it. I don't have too much else to say. Um, I feel like as soon as I wrap this show up, I'll think of like an amazing World's End story. Oh, I know it. I've World's End. You can't get a cell phone signal there, right? Okay. I'm I'm not that famous. I'm really not. I'm not that full of myself famous, but I don't like to go out much because, like, someone will recognize me and it gets a little awkward. And if there's always a nice feeling to go to World's End where didn't have a cell phone, nobody could bother me, and I didn't have to worry about anybody. You got to understand something. So, in this area, when our daughter was let's put her about 9 or 10 years old, we'll take her to the Schnecksville Fair and spend $107 trying to put a ping pong ball in a goldfish to win a $1 goldfish. Somebody who would be a fan of me would not realize that I'm the father there with my daughter who's young, going, Raymond, you dog ass peckerhead motherfucker. And so I'd like to be away from that up there. And one of the times was we were actually in the water in the swimming hole, right? Raymond! I don't know what the fucking odds of that are. That I have there's 9 people in the woods and one of them happened to be a fan of mine. So I mean I should be flattered, but again, they're not really that safe. So that's it. That story should have been better than it was. I don't know what's happening here, but yeah, that's a great place. If you get a chance to check it out, go check it out. Oh, I know. Here's one. This is uh, World's End. Also, when you're there for a week and you have a cabin and you run around, and you want to do stuff. If it's a rainy day, there is a great place, Eagles Mere, fantastic old ice cream store, and they have a town clock, and they have like 5 shops. It's very old school, and there was a little whatnot shop, and there was a lady there with a British accent trying to sell shit fucking really expensive. It was kind of like a snooty town. When we went to, we thought we could go eat at the one place, and it was like a famous chef. Then they only had a reservation for 6 people, and it's fucking $300 a plate. So that if we could go $300 a plate, we wouldn't be fucking camping at World's End.
We can't be
But this lady had this thing of junk keys. They were skeleton keys, and she had a British accent, and she was trying to give us a hard sell. She's like, "If something, I just got back from London with this fabulous key. Something quite fascinating about the key, don't you think? Something quite magical. $47.95. What the fuck? She made up a fucking story. It's fucking Pennsylvania. We all have fucking skeleton keys all around the fucking house. The skeleton keys that fucking would work in everybody's house. You didn't even have to have your own. It's a fucking old skeleton key. It's not something quite magical about it. It's not $47.95. It's something that you could use in Pennsylvania to help take your fucking shoe off. That's my show for the week. I can't find a better way to end it. It's a magical place to go to World's End, which is where I will end this world here tonight. I didn't even drink any bourbon yet, but that's it. I'm going to put a wrap on things. I'm going to figure out if I sound like a dick, if I feel like streaming on my birthday. I don't fucking know. Don't be a dick to each other. I'm excited about the weekend performing anniversary, birthday coming up. Harrisburg kicks ass, and have a great week. Don't be a dick to each other, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, wait. Hey, wait. Thursday night, Eraserhead at the Mahoning Valley Drive-In. I don't know what time it starts. I think it starts when it's dark. That's a great place too. That's up in Lehighton. If you have a chance to go there, please do. It is just a wonderful, wonderful night. And I'll leave you with this because later tonight, when Mrs. Comic falls asleep on the sofa and I am watching serial killer shows, Caesar will come over here and do that. And the purple is me, and he will connect his paw into me. So I will see Caesar later, and you won't see me seeing Caesar. I'll just stop talking. Thanks for watching, and here I go. Where's the thing that says ending soon? Right there. Well, I'm gonna end it soon. I'm the thing that says ending soon. Stream ending soon. Pretend that there's text over Caesar that says stream ending